How do I socialize confidently without drinking alcohol? How do I go out, meet my friends, meet my family, and socialize, have fun without drinking the alcohol? This is one of the most common issues that comes up, and also the number one fear when it comes to stopping alcohol and taking a break from alcohol. So make sure you stick around, because I'm going to give you all of the secrets, all of the strategies, and take it from me, because I've been alcohol free for almost 7 years. Firstly, you need to shift your mindset. What is socializing? Start shifting your mindset towards what socializing actually is. It's about making connections authentically instead of a situation where you're using alcohol as a social lubricant. So start shifting your mindset towards that, about making real connections with other people. This is what I found when I went alcohol free, that a lot of my friends and a lot of the people that I went out drinking with weren't really my real friends, deep connections. A few were, of course, but actually a lot of the relationships that I built was just based on drinking and getting absolutely hammered. So I never really made that authentic connection, and it was real and genuine. But when I went alcohol free and went out socializing, and it was a bit challenging to start with, don't get me wrong, but asking questions, being more authentic and being curious about the other person and getting to know them, that just sat more healthier with me, and it was a lot easier to do it. But I was someone who used alcohol as a social crutch every time. You know, I wasn't an alcoholic. I was a mid-lane drinker, but I definitely used it to help me in social situations. But understand that socializing is a skill. And every other skill that you learn over time, whether that's whatever, reading, writing, playing an instrument, getting fit, every skill that you've got in your life right now, you learn it sober. So why not go out and socialize sober? Take the challenge head on. So this is something that I did. I saw socializing as a challenge, especially when in the early days when I stopped drinking alcohol. I looked at it and thought, this is a challenge, because I'm feeling fearful of meeting my friends and feeling judged, and what am I going to talk about, because I always had the drink in my hand to help me, to loosen me up. But what I found over time was, the more that I pushed myself into those challenging situations, and I love a challenge me, that over time it got easier, and I was building relationships with people, and it was more authentic, and it just felt a lot easier. But it does take a bit of time. And now, nearly 7 years alcohol free. I've been doing it a long time. I've got the confidence there to go to social events, dance on the dance floor completely sober. It took a lot of time to do it, but a lot of it is just your thoughts that are doing it. You're feeling judged by the other person. And when you feel judged, or you judge yourself, you automatically limit so many opportunities and possibilities. Now, what happens when you're dealing with like social pressure? This is like your friends in your social circle that will be putting the pressure on. They'll be saying things like, oh, why are you not drinking? What's wrong with you? You can have one, mate. Come on, let's get on it. Those people, you'll have them in your circles. The way that you handle that situation is to try and diffuse it as much as possible. And what's worked for me for years is just to take the mick out of myself a little bit, take the piss out of myself a little bit, have some fun with it. But also, when you own your sobriety, when I mean own it, so let's say you're taking a break from alcohol, you're just sort of new into this. When you own your story, so when people ask you, oh, why are you not drinking tonight? And you have a clear story and you own that story, some people will be like, oh, fine, cool, no problem. But the ones that put the pressure on and they're sort of podding and proking, what's happening in that scenario is you're probably actually holding up a mirror to them, because you've just explained to them, I'm not drinking tonight, I'm looking after my health, I'm on a bit of a fitness journey at the moment, I'm training for a marathon, whatever the story is as to why you're not drinking. Generally, what happens is you're holding up a mirror to the other person, so it's hitting an insecurity inside them, and that's why they have to ridicule you, take the mick out of you, show you up in front of your friends. So just understand that. But the more that you have fun with that in those situations and own your story, the easier it becomes. So for example, I do things like, oh yeah, I'm going to be absolutely hammered tonight on my water, I'll be dancing on the fucking tables and all that sort of stuff. I just sort of make it up as I go along. But I'd been alcohol free for such a long time now, that I just say different things all the time. I just have a laugh, like, I'm allergic to it. I just make so much stuff up. But that's what I mean. I'm still having a laugh with it. And the more that you become across a bit joking, a bit funny with it, the easier it becomes. Next is to prepare for conversations. Look, if you've been using alcohol as a social crutch, then it's been helping you in the situations. And you may have said things, you may be a bit more forward in those social sittings. But be curious about the person that you sat in front of. So when you go out and you're going out alcohol free, be genuinely interested in the other person. Ask questions. How's your week been? What's your story? What's your story is a great one, especially if you've never met this person before. I think a lot of the time people say, what do you do? Especially in the UK, they say things like, oh, John, what do you do? It's like, such a shit question. What do you mean, what do I do? It's like, oh, I do all sorts. A better question is, what's your story? And then that just opens it up a bit more, and then they can say whatever they want. Because normally when we say, what do you do? That immediately is normally like the answer to like, what do you do as a job? Well, I work in accounts, or I do this, or I'm a salesperson, whatever the answer is. Why are we going straight into work? Because that's what a lot of people do. That's like the typical response, especially in the UK. But ask that question. What's your story? Tell me about yourself. Be genuinely interested in what they're doing, and always, when they're answering your question, come up with another question. What I found is over time, the drink just becomes a relative. Like they've forgotten that you're not drinking. That's what I found. So, generally what happens is, especially if the other person is now on their third or fourth drink, they technically now, when they hit the fourth drink, they're binge drinking. They've forgotten that you're not drinking, and conversations just flow as normal. So understand that. And also, I'd be get ready to leave. So normally the sign for me on a night out or in a social situation where everyone's drinking, it's when they're on their fourth or fifth drink and they're getting louder, they're repeating themselves. And then that is for me the signal to say, hey, time to go. And if you've got the fear of missing out, switch it to the joy of missing out. Because when on a typical night out, when it gets to that point where people are repeating themselves, people are starting to throw up, people are getting really loud. After that, it's all pretty much downhill. And when you were drinking at that point, you wouldn't remember what's going on anyway. We're now hitting like 11, 12 o'clock. That's that sort of time. And nothing really happens after that anyway. This is when all the, people are falling over each other and all that sort of stuff, which, do you really want to miss out on that? No. Look, the joy of missing out is you'll be waking up hangover free, have a decent night's sleep. Maybe the next morning you'll get after your goals. You'll have zero anxiety, low stress, and you can crack on with your day. That's the joy of missing out on those few hours when you leave early from a night out or social situation. Next, I would understand what your preferred drink of choice is. So before you even go out, especially this is in the early days and you want to go on this night out or this social situation alcohol free and you've never done it before, then know what your alcohol free drink of choice is. Okay. Have that ready. So when you go to the bar and someone asks you, John, what can I get you to drink? You're not going to stumble over your words and, have a Diet Coke, please. I always remember that when I stopped drinking alcohol, and I first took the break from alcohol. I wasn't prepared, and it just doesn't feel great when someone says, hey, what can I get you to drink? Hey, Adam, what you're drinking? Diet Coke? Your shoulders go down, you don't own it. So now when someone asks, what can I get you to drink? I'll say, I'll take a 0% beer, please. That's it. So having that ready, again, it comes back into the confidence. You're owning your story, especially when someone asks you, why you're not drinking tonight. Have that story ready. And then also know your alcohol-free drink of choice. And finally, have fun. What you're doing is you're thinking about nights out of all this fun that you've had when you were drinking. And then you're probably thinking like, oh, how am I going to redo that, without the alcohol? It can be done. But just go out and have fun. Have no expectations, just have those things ready that I mentioned previously, but have fun with it. That's what I do. I also set myself like these little challenges when I'm out there. So, for example, I'm going to find out 5 new pieces of information from different people. So I have a little game, you know? And also, when you're out there, and especially when you've been alcohol free for as long as I have, you have this smug feeling inside. And it's not that you're better than anyone else. It's not. It's just the fact that you're there, you're content, you're having fun, you're socializing, you're asking questions, you're learning information. It's genuine, it's authentic. It's not you coming from a drunk state. It feels good. But also, all of the people that are drinking, they're all going to be hungover, sleeping in tomorrow morning, feeling like shit, stressed, anxious, probably make poor choices off the back of that following days. So it's like this little sort of like smug feeling, but it's not that you're better than anyone else. It's just you become a lot more content and confident with the decision that you've made, and you can still have all the fun, you know, being alcohol free. So there you have it. That's how you socialize confidently without drinking alcohol. You just got to get out there and do it. You know, take Nike's slogan, just do it. The more that you push yourself out into those social situations completely alcohol free, it will feel a little bit weird to start with, and you'll feel like everyone's looking at you, but it's not. It's just your mind playing tricks on you. Honestly, no one gives a shit. They are so focused on their problems, okay, and their situations. So the more that you push yourself out there, the more confident that you'll become, and it just becomes natural, it becomes easier. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've got any other tips and tricks, or if you've got any other questions relating to this, and I'll happily answer. And I'll see you in the next video.